Hey guys, Ben Osterveld here with the Business from Within podcast. Okay guys, this is the Business from Within podcast. I have a special guest on this show named Vaden Earl. For those who don't know Vaden Earl, he is fighting for his daughter right now. She is stuck I think she's in Dominican right now. And there has been a massive runaround with the government. The earthquake killed off all the people that had the authority to make this happen. And I'll let Vaden tell the story. But before we get into that, which is going to be the main topic of today, it's absolutely a riveting story. There's a small documentary made of it, and I just want to be able to give him some time to speak about it. And I think people need to know what's going on. But I met Vaden 11 years ago. Is that how long ago? No, 20?
No. Yeah, more like 20.
1997. I'm in drug treatment center. I was probably in my later part of the year that I spent there. And our director, Doug Atha, is our connection, brought in this guys. And Vaden was going across Canada speaking to every high school and school out there, putting on a big rock show, impacting young people's lives. From day one, I've always known Vaden as an absolute giver. He wants to shift the world. He always wants to impact lives, and he impacted my life. To this day, I have him spot in my heart for you, Vaden, just because you, I don't know what it was, man, your energy. I met you when you were a skinny little guy. You know why? You had just finished a 40-day fast, and I met this guy, and it was like 5 years later, I'm like, holy crap, this guy's ripped and big and bodybuilder. And who's that guy? I'm like, because my only time I met you is that you were so skinny.
Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore. So I remember you actually speaking at, I don't know if it was a youth church or something, and you came up on stage with this gigantic money sign, big bling, like you're some black dude rapper, T-Pain, or you know what I mean, coming out there, and you're going to speak to a church. I knew I liked you instantly. I'm like, I could cause a lot of trouble with this guy. I always loved it. And because you spoke truth, you know, and I think our world is desperate for that. And that's a lot what we do on Business from Within. It's, it's not about the polish, it's about who we are for real. And that's why we're here. So anyways, Vaden, what you're going through is I couldn't imagine not getting my daughter to me. And I just want you to tell me the story about what's going on for the people that don't know, and for the people that do, I'm sure they'll listen again.
For sure, yeah. It's I forgot about the bling, so thanks for bringing that up.
I had a feeling.
Another 20 years of me trying to unremember that. So that's,
yeah, no problem. No problem.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a gong show. So after I saw you, our organization kind of morphed into a more of a humanitarian focused thing as we were getting these giant audiences, like you said, across Canada.
Huge, yeah.
People a year we talked to. And we just started to sit back and did a brainstorm session. Like, well, no one's got a captive audience of 250,000 people in Canada every year. Very few people do.
20 years ago, too. Don't forget, everyone's got a captive audience now. But We're talking, like just for context, like you're looking at, there's no, like the internet was just birthed. You're going across Canada, one person at a time, and you have 250,000 people that follow you. I don't even know how, probably email list, an email list, and no interaction, no Facebook. So just huge accomplishment. So yeah, you had just a context there, because people are like, oh yeah, 250,000. No, it's a big deal, especially 20 years ago.
Because it's face-to-face people, right?
Exactly.
Every year we spoke to that many people. So it was interesting. We did a bit of a brainstorm. We thought, well, if we get these many people that are our audience, there's got to be something, some message, more than just make right choices and don't screw up your life.
On that note, I don't mean to interrupt before. What was the message that caused people to catch your, like, when you were on stage doing these rock shows to get the kids' attention, what was the message?
The core of what we talked about was just, if you make right choices now, right things will happen down the road. So the consequences of your choices you make at this age will maybe stick with you forever. So just, think it through and respect yourself, respect the people around you. And it was real simple. I mean, it wasn't rocket science or anything. It was just say, don't be an idiot. That's really what it was. But don't be an idiot because you've got enough value intrinsically that you can change the world around you. So, you know, make choices that are in light of that bigger picture. So we had that going, and kids, it resonated with kids. It really did. Like no matter who you are or what you think you are, everybody wants to make a difference. At the end of the day, people want to have some sort of an impact. So kids at that age were really the extreme version of that. So we got that going. And then I took a trip to Cambodia after reading a story about a little girl that was trafficked. And saw what was going on there. And I went right to the spot where this little girl was sold. And it was just a life-altering situation. Wow. So we really morphed we added to what we were doing. And we started a program called Hero Holiday. And Hero Holiday was pretty simple. We just took a crap load of people to a developing country and did something good. That was it. Wow. I mean, our goal was not to just go there and talk. You know, we got these faith-based groups that want to go and just do conversions, and that's their gig, and that's fine. But we wanted to go build a house, you know, or build a school, or leave something behind so when we're gone and the memory of this team is gone, there's still bricks and mortar, something that's useful to this village.
Yeah, so cool. Very cool.
We started doing that. So Hero Holiday was launched in 2005. And that year we anticipated, you know, we would have been happy if we'd have got 20 or 30 kids to sign up to go to Dominican Republic, and ended up 150 kids came on that.
Jeez. And what were the parents saying?
Well, I mean, they didn't know what to think, because I'm going to send my 14-year-old with this group of kids that showed up in a semi-truck, you know, wearing bling.
Looking like a white.
They're going to go to some foreign country. So that's why that's kind of why we chose Dominican Republic initially, because it was safe. You know, when a parent thinks DR, they don't think of trafficking. They don't think of terrible things. They think of white sand beaches and pina coladas.
Gotcha.
You know, if we would have started the program and said, "Hey, we're going to take your 13-year-old to Haiti," that's going to be a no-go every time.
Gotcha.
So we started with DR, had a couple of successful years. It got up really quickly to 500 kids a year going on these trips, and then it got over 1,000, and then, you know, it's kind of started to balloon. So we had trips going to Dominican Republic and Mexico. Those were our two biggest as far as numbers.
Yeah.
And then we opened up Haiti and Thailand. So, and then we've done side trips to other countries, but those were our 4 main countries we went to. And building orphanages and schools and houses and that kind of thing. And it was really cool because, you know, by now thousands of teenagers have taken a Hero Holiday trip. And it's not about what they did on the ground. That was cool. You know, we leave a house behind, we leave a school behind. But those kids then come back to Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're just done. Amazing. They're finished. Like, they're a different person, you know. And they go out and they do more for their surroundings here in Canada than we could have done on 100 tours across Canada. So it's all of those numbers. It's
just a true seed. You know, come back and see what happens.
Yeah.
It was about the kid. Okay, cool. That's cool.
So then, ironically enough, the area that we did our first Hero Holiday, one of the projects we were doing, we called it A Day in Their Shoes. And it's in Haiti, in DR, there's a lot of Haitians that are displaced. So they come over to work, migrant workers, they're working in sugarcane fields or whatever, and they just back-breaking dog labor, 18 hours a day for $1. You know, it's terrible. And so a lot of single moms, and some men as well, but mostly single mothers, are in this garbage dump, because you got to understand, Dominican Republic, near the Puerto Plata area, there's a strip, you know, of like resorts as far as you could see. So it's all resorts. And you know, the waste of food from those resorts is crazy. You know, you've been to an all-inclusive. You sit there and like, I want 14 pancakes this morning. And you realize I didn't want 14 pancakes.
Exactly.
I want 3. So then the rest of them are going to the garbage. So these Haitians were living around the perimeter of this garbage dump. And then every time a truck would come, when there weren't no trucks, they were just kind of digging for recycle. So plastics that they could recycle and sell for a couple of bucks. They'd fill these giant bags, like as tall as me, of plastic bottles, and that was 35 pesos, which is less than $1. Wow. You know, and you know what it takes a little mother to fill a giant plastic bag. So And then they would get food. That's how they would eat, would be the waste from the resorts. And I don't know how many times I've been there, and the truck would come and all this crap was coming off the truck. And like you see medical waste, you know, from the hospitals and all this nastiness. And then all of a sudden, you know, rib bones from the resort comes in and people are diving over the needles to get to the rib bones, you know, like that kind of,
wow.
You can't even believe what these people live
Just imagine what that does to a 14-year-old kid. Like, I just love that. I've got a 14-year-old son, and just that he would just be shifted. You know, it's like that when earthquake hits, it shifts the spin of the earth. If it's big enough, it's almost like boom, you know,
your whole basis is gone. It just resets everything. So we were doing that, and I'll tell you, it's crazy because we started bringing hot meals. Like we go up to this garbage dump, we just get a restaurant to give us, you know, 60 or 80 styrofoam to go.
Yeah.
Rice and beans and chicken, something simple. And the desperation, but yet the hope in these people, they could be sitting around eating a hot meal from a restaurant, which they don't ever get. They hear a truck coming up the road, they put down the chicken and the hot meal and run to the truck for the scraps. Because a lot of them have this little glimmer of hope that somewhere in that truck might be the golden goose. There might be something that's worth more. There might be something better. And that's
like a watch or something that they could sell.
Yeah,
wow.
Something, you know, somebody dropped their wallet, whatever, you know, who knows. But it's crazy. Someone who's starving will walk away from a hot meal to go through trash. And it's like,
it's just brain.
So the craziness of that setting and that context is that's where we met our daughter for the first time.
That's where you met her.
Her mother was one of the single mothers that we met there. And Widlene was just little, I mean, you know, tiny
wow.
in his arm. And we were doing these projects there, and I really wasn't a kid person. I didn't really like kids that much.
Yeah.
I just thought I was going to break them, you know, if I held them.
Oh, yeah.
But what I liked less than that was the hot sun in the Caribbean at 12 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I made a deal. I'll run the watering station. I'll provide cold water for all the people that come with their water bottles. So this kid, I went to this lady and said, I'll hold the kid. So I would just take her daughter, Widlene, and just hold her, and we would hand out water. You know, her and I would figure out how to fill the water cups and just hand them. And we'd encourage the workers and certainly our teenagers from Canada to come every 10 minutes and slug back a glass of cold water because they're hydrated.
Yeah.
And so that was my first experience getting to know this little girl. And we didn't even know her name. She had a chronic sinus infection, so her nose was always caked up with snot. So literally for 2 years of her life, everybody called her Snotball. We didn't even know her name.
Wow.
So that was the nickname. There's Snotball. And she would come running. She would hear our team coming to the village or to the garbage dump. She'd just come booking it out. And that's how we got to know this kid. So a short time later, her mother passed away. And to make a long story less long, we just said, you know what? We've connected with this kid. And by now she was 4.5 years old, I would say. And her mother died. And her grandmother she couldn't feed another mouth. You're talking about the place where they live. You know, if you had your dog live in a place like that in Canada, your neighbor would call the SPCA. Wow. You'd get reported. Wow. And this is where a family of 7 or 8 or 9 could live. And so the grandmother couldn't afford. She's got other grandkids. She's got extended family living there. She's a single mother too, a single grandmother. She can't afford it. So she found a family member to take Widlene back to Haiti. So Widlene was sent back to Haiti, a place she'd never been because she was actually born in DR.
Wow.
And what happens with kids like that go to Haiti is families that are, I'm not going to call them rich families. I'm going to say less poor.
Yeah. So
less poor families will purchase children from more poor families and use them as household servants. Basically, it's Amnesty International, the UN, they all call it what it is. It's slavery.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. So that was her future. That was her fate. And we talked to the grandmother and said, listen, we're interested in adopting her. Would you go along? Would you assign us guardianship and do the paperwork? It's not going to cost you anything, but we'll do it. And she said yes. So that was
of course. That's like the Holy Grail, right?
Right. And, and for her, the grandmother, she actually, when we asked her, she starts crying immediately. And because her granddaughter now is in Haiti, and she knows there's a really good chance she's never seeing her again.
Yeah.
She's in Haiti, and we don't even know where to find her in Haiti. But as soon as we ask, she goes, and she starts crying. She says, if you adopt her, maybe she won't die.
Wow. If you adopt her, maybe she won't die.
Yeah. So how do you respond to that, right? I mean, that's it. It's game on. So we said, okay. Went to Haiti. Haitian culture is like Facebook. I mean, you tell one person you're looking for a red shoe, and before you know it, there's 300 people looking for a red shoe for you. So they're really connected that way.
That's cool.
So it took a couple of weeks, and we found where she was staying, and we went and had her brought back to Dominican Republic, and that began the saga. But things got a little weird before we asked the grandmother. When I heard that Widlene was not in the garbage dump, when I heard that her mom had died, I was actually in a pub in Hamilton, Ontario.
Wow.
It's hard to believe I was in a pub, I know. But
I feel like we should be having a Guinness or something. But anyways.
Yeah. Who would do that while they're doing an interview?
Look at this guy. Where's my drink?
That's crazy talk, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what do we call that? I'm going to have that in layaway. Next time I see you, I want that on layaway. I'll pay to word it.
Yep. So I was actually having a Guinness with my local member of parliament there. And I got the call, and I just said, hang on. And I told him what was going on. And he said, listen, I know the Minister of Immigration personally, and we can help you. We can do this. So I said, listen, man, I don't got 3 years of my life and 40 grand for legal fees, because I've heard the horror stories of national adoption. I said, my book had just come out. It just went bestseller. My public speaking had just blown up. We got Hero Holiday exploding.
Yeah.
I can't slam the brakes on everything that we've been building. So I said, I can't do that. And he literally picked up his phone and called Jason Kenney, Minister of Immigration at the time. Speakerphone, me and this guy and Jason Kenney are talking. And he said, listen, can the guy come up with $5 grand of legal fees? And I said, yeah, we can do that. And he said, earliest 6 or 7 weeks, top end 12 weeks, she'll be in Canada.
Jeez.
That was June 15th of 2009. That was June 15th. So let me tell you, I've said this, and I don't know where you sit politically, and that's fine because we're all different, but I don't know, man. I feel bad for Alberta because he's going to be your next premier, and I watched this guy lie through his teeth. And I'm sure he's going to be the next premier. So he'll be good for oil at least. He won't be very good for the kids, but whatever.
Crazy. Crazy.
So yeah, Kenny. And I think they wanted to help. I think they were honest and sincere when they said, yeah, we'll help you. Go get her. So we went and we bring this little girl. She's living in our place in Dominican Republic. She's learning to say daddy and mommy and all this kind of stuff. And she didn't speak any English. She spoke very little Spanish, but mostly Creole and French. Well, my Creole is a bit rusty, so so we would do sign language and stuff like that. Well, that was summer 2009. We went down and we did all the approvals. We signed the last piece of paper for the Haitian adoption approval. December 15th, 2009. They said it's going to take about 6 weeks for this to get registered and all processed. By the end of January, you'll have travel documents and everything else.
Wow.
Good to go. Well, January 12th, 2010, Haiti exploded with that earthquake, and that was that.
Yeah.
I mean, everything changed. That was a complete game changer. So
wow.
I went down because we had built a couple of orphanages in Haiti prior to that. So we put together a really quick team and went down there because we couldn't reach our director of our orphanage. So we thought, man,
jeez, you got to get
we're
down
going to
there.
have 100 dead kids down here or something. We were freaking out, right? Because we were seeing on CNN, the numbers are 4,000 dead, 10,000 dead. There's 100,000 dead. And, the number just kept exploding. So we got to Haiti. And I went, after went to the orphanage and made sure everyone was okay, which they were, by the way. I took a drive down to what's called IBESR, Child and Family Services Haiti, like their adoption central authority. Man, I was in that building 2 weeks or 3 weeks before.
Crazy.
Signing the documents to bring my daughter to Canada. The building was like a 2.5 or 3-story tall building. I walked up to the building. It was up to my chest. The roof was at my chest level. Crazy. Everything inside destroyed. Our caseworker was killed in the earthquake. Wiped out. And it's not like, I know when people hear that in Canada, they're like, oh, well, I guess they've got backups on a computer somewhere. This is Haiti. I mean, there's no computer in that building, right? It's like when they say we're gonna put you in, register you with vital statistics, there's a book. There's a paper book, and they write your name. Crazy. That's how it works. And my heart sank, and I knew we're screwed. This is bad. You
just knew it. So can I ask you a weird question?
Yeah, go ask me.
Like, do you ever sit back and go, why does this happen? I think a lot of people might.
Do I ever sit back?
Yeah, you know, he laughs.
I never question anything, Ben.
Yeah. I honestly don't mean to have a stupid question. I really don't. But I just feel like I work with people all the time, right? We have these questions, like, and I do the same thing. Like, what the F, you know?
Yeah.
How do you work through that?
I don't. I absolutely don't work through it. Wow. Like, I wish I had, you know, well, here's my 7-step process for getting through it. No. Like, I haven't gotten through it. I've asked that question about 20 times today before we did this interview. Okay. You know, like, I'm sitting here going, and it's actually mind blowing to me, because my entire career up to that point was based on going out and trying to rescue kids like this.
Totally.
And of course, I wasn't bringing them to my home. I was getting them a home, or helping them get infrastructure, or building them a house, or whatever, raising money, you name it. And I'm sitting there going, this is almost 10 years ago. And I raised $33 million for that earthquake in Haiti. Okay. So there was a 4-to-1 match from the Canadian government. So when I was finished raising money with the match, you know, because they had this 4-to-1 thing with CETA, it was $33 million. I can't get one kid home to Canada. I got a couple questions about why things happen. I got a few outstanding queries, you could say. I'm telling you, it beats me up, and I've been in the hospital over the last few months because the stress is shredding my organs. Like, I don't want to get into details and stuff, but I don't even remember like a trip to the washroom that didn't mean blood loss for me. That's just my life now, and it's just the stress is so extreme. I went 6 months. Every time I eat food, I just throw up. I couldn't even keep food in my body. And the doctors are like, you have to get out of a stressful situation. Like, good. Tell Trudeau that, you know, tell the people that have me, encapsulated in this, because I can't leave. I can't walk away.
And give me the length. Let's let people know how long this has been going on. Like, you're giving this is like running a car at 100 miles an hour at full speed, never ever giving an engine a break, right? How long has this been?
Well, that was 2009. So the earthquake, June of 2009.
Crazy.
And so this last year was June of 2018. So that's 9 full years of just high octane, pedal to the metal. Now, granted, there were some times in between there, you know, when it all fell apart and Jason Kenney stabbed us in the back and the Canadian government kind of turned their back on us and all that crap. We kind of said, well, I guess we're going to live in DR.
Yeah.
So she's 18 and sponsored her adult, right? So not the end of the world. There's worse. If you're going to get stuck somewhere, I suppose
it's a good place.
A good prerequisite, you know? We had a good business there and things were happening. So I kind of got to that point. Now, of course,
and you live with her, your daughter, and you build a life there.
Yeah.
And how long you were there? That's the sole reason you moved there, right?
Oh God, yeah. I would never move to that country otherwise.
Yeah,
for sure. So, and then during that whole couple of years so we got her in 2009, the earthquake in 2010. And then we had government help, and right up until, I want to say the spring of 2010 was when they said, sorry, I know we promised it, but we're out. It's not politically feasible for us anymore. And I mean, when the book comes out, the tell-all book, which is coming out soon, I got an email from an MP, a Canadian member of parliament, who is still a member of parliament, which is great. And literally, because I mean, remember, Widlene is in Dominican Republic in our house. She's safe.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the guy that's promising me to get her to Canada. He says, can you sneak her back into Haiti? This is after the earthquake. And pretend she's an earthquake survivor. We'll get her a spot.
Wow.
I'm like, you piece of shit. I'm going to go now. So this kid, you know, she's in I get it. I mean, I want to get her to Canada, but she's in a good home. She's got 4 square meals a day. She's got an iPad and My Little Pony and all the other crap that kids need.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and take a seat from a child who just lost their entire family, were annihilated by an earthquake, and I'm going to put my kid in that seat, and that new orphan doesn't get to go to a better life. Where do we find the people for these jobs? Where do we find people who work in government? Because I don't know how you could scrape a guy like that off the bottom of the ocean and put him in that position. Like, but I have the email.
Wow.
So guess what? Everyone's going to know who that was pretty soon, because it pisses me off that these guys, I mean, okay, I'm all good with bending the rules, and I'm going to have to full on break them if I'm ever going to get her to Canada. I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to.
Not on the back of a little child that needs.
Exactly. This is my point.
This isn't rules. This is a humane.
It's just being a human. It's just being a person.
Just a fucking human.
And I mean, and Kenny, what Kenny said would really piss me off, because we're shooting for it's called an H&C consideration, so humanitarian and compassionate grounds. So you apply for a visa that they would normally not qualify for this visa. So it's called TR, temporary residence permit. And if they don't fit any other mechanism to get to Canada, you can apply under humanitarian and compassionate grounds. You build the story that this kid really needs help, and this kid has got a social structure within a Canadian family. They're going to be taken care of. They're not going to be a burden on the system. You know, all the So that's the direction we're going. And then Kenny reaches out and says, Widlene's in the DR, right? I'm like, yeah. He said, she's safe. Yeah. She's in a school. Yeah. And we go through everything that she has and all the things that she has. And he says, I don't know if I can approve this anymore. Like, what do you mean you can't approve it? He said, it doesn't look good politically when I'm giving humanitarian and compassionate grounds to someone who, you know, is in a good situation. I said, what am I supposed to do? And he literally said, why don't you
pull her out of school,
send her back to Haiti and put her in an orphanage for a bit? And then it looks better for us, and we could probably sell that.
Holy shit.
That's what I'm dealing with. That's the shit we deal with. And so anyways, not to get bogged down in that, because that's, you know, my rage and my indignation is not necessarily partisan, although I might lean a little more right than left, and I certainly don't like the Liberal government right now, but the Conservatives had 6 years to figure this out. Now the Liberals have had 3. So I hate them all. So don't get me wrong here.
Well, why not? You're a father right now. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a father. Like, this isn't politics. This is your father, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you do anything for your kids. Anything.
Yeah, anything.
So what's the so right now? Give me a current event here. So we've got, like, is there any progress? Like, is there any hope?
Well,
like,
so
what's happening here?
Let me tell you what happened and changed everything. Like I said before, we were going to be like, she's 18. That's cool. We'll stay there. Live our life, smoke my cigars on the beach. I'm good.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, Dominican Republic changed their law, and this is very important. They normally, most of the world, if you're born in a country, if you're born on that country's soil, it's called jus soli. If you're born there, you have rights to citizenship on the physical land that you were born. I mean, there's Chinese people that fly to the U.S., have a baby in the U.S., and then fly back to China just so that they get a passport. So that was the rule. Dominican Republic in 2014 changed that, mostly because they didn't want all the Haitians living there. There's a lot of racism between the two countries.
Gotcha.
So they changed it and said, from now on, no Haitians born on Dominican soil can have Dominican citizenship. But then they went one step further and said, also, all the way back to 1929,
holy crap,
were stripping their citizenship. So we got people whose parents, even grandparents, were born in DR. They were born in DR. Nobody speaks Creole. No one's been to Haiti. They all speak Spanish. They're Dominican educated. Boom. No passport. See you later. You're stateless.
Like, how does that happen? Is that cool how that works? Like, can anyone?
No, I mean, Amnesty International said it's probably the biggest humanitarian crisis ever in this hemisphere.
Jeez.
So you got now 750,000 people who are now stateless, and then they start going back to Haiti, And Haiti says, well, you know, we don't want you either because we can't take a bunch of Haitian-looking Dominicans because they're Dominicans in their eyes. They don't speak Creole. There's nothing they can bring to society there. So these people are just no man's land, bouncing back and forth across the border. And that's Widlene. So
Widlene, is she hiding out?
Yeah. So when that happened, they started doing raids. They were ripping through town with military, like 100 military, heavily armed.
Seems like a movie, a bad fucking movie. You know what I mean? Like, how does this happen? You know?
It's crazy. Like, I've been arrested for hiding Haitians. The cops have taken me out and roughed me up. They walk into my cigar shop. They stick an AR-15 under my chin.
Jeez.
And they're like, stop with those updates on Facebook. Stop making our country look bad. I'm like, pull the fucking trigger. That's the only way. You do it now, and we can save ourselves a lot of conversation because I'm not stopping.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen. So that's literally what's happening. So they show up, and they'll go through this town, and there'll be like maybe 20 or 30 military, like, you know, AR-15s, the whole deal, marching through the street. Behind them, a half a dozen dirt bikes with 2 guys on them, and they'll chase people down that run. And behind them, a couple of pickup trucks. Behind them, they got 3. They got 38, but they have 3 in our province. There's school buses that have been retrofitted with cages on the back where the windows were, and they throw people in like dogs. And I'm talking, you might see a 90-pound mother of 3. And as she resists, if she pulls back, she gets the butt end of that rifle in the hand.
Come on.
They don't even screw around. It's just skin color. They picked up 2 guys from Brooklyn last year. These guys were on vacation.
Wow.
They had the bright pink wristband from their all-inclusive. They said, we're not Haitian. You look Haitian in the back of the truck. They took them all the way to Santo Domingo, 4 hours away. And these guys had to get the U.S. Embassy to get them
Holy
out.
shit.
That's how racist and completely ridiculous this is.
Sounds like terrorism or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. So that's
this is 2 years ago, Vaden?
That started 2 years ago, and the raids come and go. Like last weekend, I'm in Canada, right? So I've got my Dominican cell phone. Like I travel around like I'm a bloody drug dealer with 2 phones, right? And my Dominican cell phone goes off. And it's one of my contacts inside the Policia Nacional, which is the national police. And he says, don't let Widlene go out. They're going to raid. So I get tips.
Jeez. So don't they watch this? Don't they know where you live?
Well, we move. We've had to move a couple times.
I see.
So most recently we moved into a hotel. So now back so it makes sense to you. Back when everything fell apart with the adoption 2010, that whole thing, Crystal and I separated. So she's commuting back and forth. She's 2 weeks in Canada, 2 weeks in Dominican Republic, and I was there full time. So there's 2 separate residents, and Widlene is moving. So we managed to keep it kind of fairly fluid. They caught on, the Canadian government last fall shared our file. So we've got an open TRP application. And they called me and they said, we want to see if we can establish that Widlene doesn't have citizenship in either of the 2 countries. I'm like, she doesn't. And no, you cannot call anybody because you'll compromise us. And they did. They went ahead and they reached out to both Haiti and DR, showed them our file, and our local address was on the file. So we had to move again. That's when I got arrested. It was pretty rough, man. We've had death threats. We had a Canadian group down there stalking us. We're at a restaurant eating one night, and we get a phone call, and the guy describes what we're wearing he's watching us eat in a restaurant. He goes, I'm going to come and fucking kill you. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is actually happening? And
it's crazy. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
And we open a case with Global Affairs Canada, and they're like, yeah, we can extradite you and Nikki. But no. Sorry, we can't help Widlene. She's not a Canadian citizen. Okay, that's what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to do that. Yeah. So I don't know, man, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And so
where's the hope? Where's the progress? What's like?
We thought we had this done. I mean, we literally bought this house in Canada.
Jeez.
I met face-to-face with Trudeau
last July. Tell me about that. I want to hear about that.
Right. So we launched the Bring Widlene Home Campaign last June.
All across Canada. It was on TV. Yeah. Everyone saw it. 100%. I saw personally Trudeau talk to you on TV.
Yep, exactly. And if you saw that interview, you saw Trudeau look at me and said, as long as you've got the paperwork in, we've got your back. Yeah. We're going to get her home. shakes my hand, and then he pats me on the back and he says, you deserve commendation. You've got an entire nation rallied behind you. And I said, I don't need a pat on the back. I just need a visa, man. That's all I need. So anyways, he makes that promise. We literally had a party that night. I mean, I was in Hamilton, and all my old friends and whatever that were supporting us came out. We had a party because Trudeau said yes. What else do you need? If the leader of the country who campaigned on this kind of stuff.
Totally. He brings in refugees. That's his big thing.
Yeah, but apparently they need to have criminal records or something because they won't let Widlene come in. But we'll get to that. But I mean, so anyway, so yeah, we got Trudeau. Done. We start looking. We find a house. We find a town we want to live in. We buy a house. And we start moving our stuff because this is going to happen, obviously. A month later, we get a rejection letter. It's like,
just a kick in the freaking gut, hey?
Unbelievable. I'm like, how in the world? And I literally called the lady. I'm like, you saw the city news piece, right? You saw your boss
exactly
say, we're doing this. And she goes, I'm sorry. And I said, okay. We looked at it, and they had a couple of things in the letter. It was a bit ridiculous. Like they gave you 5 reasons why you rejected, and they're all bullshit. Like, well, we don't know that Widlene's biological mother is dead. And I'm like, okay, so on your file, I got a number. I actually have a filing number. You've got her birth or death certificate on your file. So what, do you need me to come read it to you? Is that where we're at? So it was just all these trumped up garbage. So anyways, we got over it. We thought, okay, we're gonna address these 5. We thought the high road at that point, we're so close. Let's take the high road. Let's just address their 5 things.
For sure. Of course you do that.
Reapply, bolster up our thing, our application, knock it out of the park. So this time, we addressed all those 5. Our cover letter is 15 pages long. Our application is 178 pages long. There's 1,200 pages of support documentation. I mean, there's a what do you call it? A pro bono law group that works with a bunch of law schools around North America. They circulated it to 50 law students. They're lawyers, but they're still clerking.
Yeah.
50 of them, they vetted the application. 2 federal court judges in Canada, one retired, one active, they vetted the application. Amnesty International, UNHCR, and the Canadian Centre on Statelessness all vetted the application, all said, this is ready for approval. So we're like, high five, boom. In we go. Silence. Just crickets. They won't give us an answer.
What the hell?
I finally got pissed off and I went to an event that Ahmad Hussein was at. You might have seen that on TV as well. And I said, what's a reasonable time for an emergency request? And he said on camera, 30 days. I'm like, we're on day 34 today. And he says, you'll have an answer in 2 days, I promise you. And again, I'm not making this stuff up. I video everything.
It's on video. Yeah.
It's all there. And he says, the lady in my office is going to call you on Monday with the answer, where we're at. I emailed her on Monday and I said, hey, because she knows me. She's been my go-to on this thing. I said, hey, just so you know, I'm in Canada. I'm not in DR. Here's my number for when you call me.
Yeah.
She said, I'm not calling you, and he shouldn't have made that promise. And that's what we're dealing with. So literally.
So that's crazy. So what do you think's really going on here? What's really going on? I get you're trying to. What's really going on? I want to hear that. The stuff that you're getting cut. You're getting cut off on so many different media outlets. There is no one controlling this except me. And well, unless I get in trouble, but I don't mind that either. But the thing is, I want to hear what's really going on. Like, what's really happening? You're right in there. You're on the pulse of this. You're experiencing it. You're getting sick over it.
I wrestled with that very question for the last year. I am the face of this application. That's unfortunate, but I am. I'm the guy in the media because Widlene is landlocked. She can't leave that island. We've done a few videos that she's posted, and she's spoken directly to Trudeau, like, made a video, Dear Mr. Trudeau, why can't I come to Canada, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But they don't see her. They see me as the guy putting the pressure on them. And unfortunately, they've got a profile. The Liberal government right now has a profile of the people they want to help. And those people don't look like me. I am not a visible minority. And we're not on CBC, so I'll just say, and again, I'm theorizing,
Yeah, it's just your opinion. I want to hear it.
I'm a straight white male. And if you listen to anything Trudeau says, I'm the enemy. You're the enemy. We're the people that are what's wrong with Canada, according to Trudeau. You know, we don't represent any special interests. We're not a visible minority. And that's fine. It doesn't mean we're going to get shit on. But what it does mean is we can march and no one's going to listen. You know what I mean? Like, we can go and have a protest and they're not going to change a law because a bunch of people like you and I went and protested the law. Because we're not representing that special interest group. And I think because I pushed so hard in the media, and I knew this is a calculated risk.
Yeah, totally.
But I didn't think it would go this way. But I did consider it. And when we went to the media and went hard in the media, I thought, this is either going to shame them into doing the right thing or piss them off into just digging in their heels. And I think we know which one of those things happened. But I think it's a combo of they don't want to be seen as bending to the will of me, my profile. It's not me personally. It's what they think I represent or don't represent. And then on top of that, they thought we can't set a precedent that every squeaky wheel gets grease.
Well, that's right. I can see that.
Right.
Yeah.
But they do. They absolutely do set that precedent.
You know
but the squeaky wheel's got to be from Somalia or got to be Muslim or it has to be LGBT or something. Then the squeaky wheel gets all the grease they want. But not this squeaky wheel. So, and it's really frustrating because it's not about me. This has nothing to do with me. I'm a voice. That's all I am to a kid that they've tried to silence. Widlene is, I mean, if they're looking for minorities, she's the trifecta. She's female, she's a minor, and she's black. She, you know, according to the UN, she represents the highest risk demographic on earth. As a marginalized female who's stateless and 12 years old, the highest risk demographic on planet Earth. And yet Trudeau can tweet and say, if you're running from persecution, if you're in fear, if you need help, Canada welcomes you. Diversity is our strength, blah, 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 blah.
I heard it.
And it's cool. It's cool for them when they're bringing in voting-aged men. That's who they're bringing in. And people are going to argue with that, and they're going to go, that's not the demographic. Run the numbers. The Canadian government just released the numbers on 2016. 48,000 asylum seekers, all but 1,400 of them were Muslim. 70% of them were voting-age men. That's not my numbers. That's the government of Canada's numbers. So they need votes. Widlene doesn't represent a vote. She's 12. There's nothing in it for them.
Wow.
And I mean, it drives me mental to think that they're operating this way.
What happens when she's 18?
Still nothing, because she's stateless. She doesn't have
stateless.
No country is recognized.
Of course, I guess the grandmas are getting shipped back to Haiti anyways, right? I see.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no country recognizing her. So we've got. I mean,
who can help you?
Well, the most natural opportunity to help us is actually the Canadian government, because, and again, Hussein and Trudeau like to walk around and say, well, we have limitations based on our international conventions that we've signed and that kind of stuff. What they're forgetting is those international conventions don't just present them with limitations, they also present them with obligations. So for example, Canada, DR, and Haiti are all signatories to the UN Convention on the Reduction of Statelessness, for example. Now, I think it's Article 38 of that very convention says that if a signatory state will not recognize a child, then another signatory state is able and even obligated to confer citizenship to reduced stateless individuals. So Canada, because Haiti and DR will not give her a citizenship, Canada not just has an opportunity, but they have an obligation to step in and give her an opportunity or a path towards citizenship. So the problem with Trudeau and Hussein is they're not intelligent people. So they're given talking points and they just walk around and yap, 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 and they don't really know what they're saying. So the 3 times I met Trudeau and the half a dozen times I met Hussein, like I try and engage in an intelligent conversation, but it's just not happening. It's just not going to happen. So I can say, hey, what about Article 38 of this convention? And they're like, it's complicated. That's all they can say.
Because do they really know?
They don't know. They don't know. They talk what they know, but they don't know. So they're outgunned. They're in the wrong job. They're underqualified. So, but the problem is, and this is, I had an argument with one of Trudeau's senior aides the other day. And because he knew Trudeau made that promise on August 12th in Hamilton And I said, how do you feel coming to work every day for a guy that goes on TV and gets all the goodwill for promising to help a 12-year-old child and then walks away from all the responsibilities? Do you sleep well at night when you work for an idiot like that? And the guy, and this is what the guy says to me, he said, but did he have all the information when he made the promise? I'm like, you're asking the wrong question. I don't care if he had none of it. You're the prime minister. If you don't have the information, don't make the damn promise. Like, it's one or the other. Like, if you feel like, hey, I don't have all the info to do this, you look at me in the eyes on August 12th, shake my hand and say, man, I wish I had enough information to promise you something, but I don't. So why don't you talk to so-and-so? But instead, he saw the cameras, he saw the selfies, he starts autographing protest signs and says, we're going to do it. We're going to get her home. Well, okay, now you got to do it. So, and that's what it is when you have a child as a leader, right? And he's not qualified.
Wow. So what's going on now? Are you on different media outlets? Like, what's the next, what's your move?
So right now we've got an interesting thing brewing. A number of countries have offered us citizenship, if you can believe it.
No way.
Yeah. There's even a couple of communist countries that have heard about this and said, we'll help you guys. Honest to God, we'll help you. It's unbelievable.
Just like that. One, boom, done.
There's 3 countries on the table right now that said,
so
just
any countries,
they're going to give us passports for all of us. Like,
could that be the way back to Canada?
Well, then we have to apply for Canadian visas. Imagine I'm going to go, I'm going to be in some country, some communist country, applying as an immigrant to come to Canada. So, how's that for irony?
So that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay.
If Dominican got out of control, like, if we couldn't keep her safe,
you'll pull that trigger.
We've got a backup plan. We've got a safety plan.
Okay.
It's not, I don't like it, but it's something. Hussein screwed up last week, and this is big. He wrote a letter, and I won't get into all the details, but he wrote a letter to another MP, and it got back to us, and in it, and we've never seen.
So this letter was not a publicly released letter?
No.
Wow. No. And so someone got it to you?
It's the first document we've seen him sign on Widlene since the beginning, and in it he talks about using a fraudulent document to disqualify her from entrance into Canada. I've spoken to the lawyers. It's big. This could bury him. This could be court time. It's going to be court. We're going to haul him up on 5 different charges, including, but certainly not limited to, misrepresentation, interference in a public process. Like, there's all this fraud.
Yeah. And you got what kind of lawyers you got backing you? We
got some pretty good ones now.
I had a feeling.
We had some, some rookies and stuff like that, but we got the word out, and we're getting calls from the big ones.
Because I think lawyers get profiled too, right? Like, there's a win. Right. There's a win to take on a case. Like, it's reality, right?
So what's going to happen with this particular item now, and possibly by the time this airs, it will be done already, but I'm working with, we've got a number of Liberal MPs that support Widlene and want to get her home, and they're harassing Hussein like I am. Wow. Well, I'm going to put them in a corner now, because they're going to have to look at this piece of illegal activity and say, either I support illegal activity when it comes to immigration, or I don't.
All of a sudden, politics works for you. It's been working against you the whole time, and now all of a sudden, it's almost like if you're gonna go, it's almost like if you don't want to, like, they don't want to play fair, well, then you're gonna have to be forced to be this guy that corners them. It's not like you want to, Vaden. I know that. Well, I know. And the thing is, though, you gotta play their game in a way and beat them at their own game. It's so frustrating.
Well, it's a piss off, because when the earthquake happened, I got approached by a guy that did black market passports. And I believe the number was 28 grand
done
Canadian. And he would have gotten her a Canadian passport, like registered in the system here. People do that, right? That still exists.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I'm thinking, I've got the Minister of Immigration. I've got a couple MPs. I've got the good guys. So I said, no, thank you. What do you think I would do if I had that opportunity today? In a heartbeat, man, I'll pay double. Where do I sign?
No doubt.
In the last 10 years, we've spent now over $300,000 on trying to make this happen.
I was gonna ask you the money. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I said to my MP, I don't have 40 grand and I don't have 3 years. Well, I've burnt up 10 years and 300 grand. And, you know, when I look at Widlene, and her and I are really close. We got a really cool thing going. I wouldn't change. I mean, would I change the circumstances? Sure.
Of course.
If I was sitting down 10 years ago, 9 years ago, looking at her grandmother, and then someone came over and told my fortune and said, if you say yes to this adoption, it's going to take you 10 years. It's going to cost you $300,000. And, you know, it's going to completely tear your life apart for a decade. Would you still do it? I would still do it. Of course I would still do it.
What are you going to say? No?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what are you going to say? Like, I almost was going to ask you that question. I thought, nah, that's kind of edgy. Like, would you do it if would you have left her at the dump? Like, think about that question. Would you have, like, it's just too heavy. Like, of course not.
One missions group were down there doing their thing, and I knew them quite well. And the director, it was after a year, after the earthquake and a year of us fighting, and we lost the Canadian government assistance. We lost Kenny. And this guy says, just bring her back to Haiti, man. And I'm like, you're actually a missionary, a vocational missionary, and you're telling me to bring her back to Haiti. And you know what I said?
Like, you mean drop her off?
Yeah, just bring her to an orphanage. It's too much trouble for you.
No.
Your career, everything's falling apart. Your marriage, everything's done. And he actually said that.
Holy shit.
So you know what I said to him? It was so ridiculous. I didn't want to dignify it with a real answer, like a human answer. Wow. So I literally said to the guy, I said, you know, I would. I washed out the jeans that had the receipt in the pocket. Now they won't take her back. And that's the last words I said to this guy. I've never talked to him since. I walked into this house. I'm like, see you later.
Just drop her off. Wow. It's like, why don't you just sell her to the slavers too? You know, that'd be good.
Might as well get some money back.
Might as well make some money on it. Fuck.
It's crazy what these people think. And but anyway, at the end of the day, it still comes down to getting her to safety.
Yeah.
And I fight with these politicians literally every day, every single day. If you look at my call sheet, there's a half a dozen MPs, or there's 2 or 3 lawyers, or there's 5 media outlets, there's something on there. And I look at it all and I'm like, it doesn't matter. I just want to get her safe.
So is our lawyer going to be taking this public with the criminal stuff with Hussein?
Yeah. So we're looking at how to release that. So likely we'll fire a shot with the media and see how that goes. And then, but either way, he's gonna have to answer for it in court, one way or the other. But yes. I said to them, I'm like, listen, there's a really easy way to keep me off CBC about this thing. Really easy. Give me the visa. That's it. We've qualified for it 3 times over. Yeah. It's not like you're giving someone, you're making an exception to the rule.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, the guy this morning that they said is not getting deported, that was an exception because the Canadian law says he has to be deported. So they made an exception.
Oh, crap. Yeah,
they actually made an exception to keep this criminal in Canada. And they look to me and they go, well, we can't make exceptions. I'm like, don't make an exception. Just follow the rules and Widlene's here. That's it.
Yeah.
We met all the requirements.
So there's a GoFundMe page, right?
There's a GoFundMe page, yes.
So how do you find that? I'll link it all to the show, but still.
Link it, yeah. If you just pop on to GoFundMe and just under search, type Widlene, Widlene. And everything, the easiest way to get to all of our links, Ben, is bringwidlenehome.com. Our website has got links to everything. There's it's
a great website. I've seen it. Yeah.
We've been working on keeping it update and stuff. There's a online petition with 60,000 signatures, and you'd think that would have some weight with politicians, but they don't care.
No.
They just don't care.
You know what? I think this is really cool. I feel like at least I can do is give you some more exposure. It's really cool to talk to you, Vaden. I think we'll wrap it up here. We'll close it down. I think we've got an amazing feel. I think it's a crazy good interview. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
I appreciate you calling me, man.
Yeah, it's been really good, man. Really good. So cheers. Hey guys, Ben here. Thanks for listening to the Business from Within podcast. This episode with Vaden Earl, what an interview. There's times where I'm sitting there feeling like I could just cry to think about this little girl stuck there wanting to be with her dad, and the runaround that Vaden is facing. The amount of media attention on this is massive with almost like no results at all. Like this, it just blows my mind.
all I ask you guys to do is share this. Let's spread the word for Vaden. He is an absolute amazing human being. He's got his ass kicked a little bit in the last while. I look him in the eyes. He's hurting. And you know what? Let's send some love. Share the episode. Do what you can. Pay a little bit of money. Go to the GoFundMe page, because there's ways, if you got enough money, to make this stuff happen. And if we can help, that'd be great. I'm doing my part. Here's the podcast. Cheers. Thank you so much for listening.